welcome Manoj, welcome Tanuj, welcome Saravna. So till the time we wait for participants to join, you can go follow us on our social media platforms and our meetup communities. I've shared the link in the chat box. So do follow us on social media platforms. Be updated regarding the upcoming sessions. Jyoti sir, am I audible clearly? Hello, Archie, am I audible?
Yes, so you are audible. Good morning.
Oh, thank you, sir. Hello and welcome everyone. Shubh Parmar, your host for today's webinar. My team and I are here to make sure you have a seamless and engaging experience. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to use the chat window. We are here to help. So the topic for today is building intelligent agents with AutoGen and Azure OpenAI. So about the ATC community, this webinar is hosted by the ATC community, a hub for enthusiasts passionate about cloud technologies, AI, machine learning, IoT, open source development, and certain edge learning certain by delivering transformative learning experiences. Our core focus is on digital transformation to mastering emerging technologies like AI, cloud computing, and DevOps. Synergetics is committed to equipping you with the tools and knowledge to succeed. So these are the learning solutions which are offered by Synergetics, which is persona-based onboarding add-on, certification add-on, reskilling, emerging technology training, certification hackathon, cloud adoption, latest technology training, sales, pre-sales training, practice playbook, and architecting. This is the Microsoft certification skilling journey. The journey begins with the fundamental certification, then progresses to advanced role-based certification, and finally to expert level certifications. We run communities on Meetup. This is the emerging technology community. Anyone who are eager to learn about technological knowledge can join this community on Meetup. We have multiple communities in Pune, Gujarat, Nagpur, and Indore. So those who are interested to join this community, please log in to Meetup app and gain your knowledge for free. We are thrilled to have Mr. Navjyoti Baru as our today's speaker. He's a certified Microsoft trainer and a consultant at Synergetics. He brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in AI and cloud technology. Participants are not allowed to take screenshot of the presentation and cannot do screen recording. Uh, so this webinars you have been attending are designed to give you a brief overview and summary of the full course content. However, the HL certification training programs for this courses run over 4 days, and we are currently offering them at a special discounted rate. Uh, exclusively for our webinar attendees. On my screen, you can see the list of in-demand certification courses we are currently focusing on. For more details regarding this courses, connect with Mr. Vivek Balasundaram, one of my colleague. I have shared his contact and email ID in the chat box. So do everyone do follow us on our social media platforms to get relevant updates on upcoming webinars, workshops, and certifications training we do. Thank you so much for listening to me. We'll hand over the mic to our speaker, Navjyoti sir. You can take over from here.
Yeah, thank you for the quick introductions and giving a brief about this training. So let me share my screen first. So hope I'm audible to all of you and hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get started then. So today we are going to do the conversation on building intelligent agent with the AutoGen and Azure OpenAI. Now, first of all, we must understand what is AI agent. So we'll start with the AI agent and then we'll see how the AI agent can be developed using the agent development framework like AutoGen. Now, all the agent is empowered by the LLM, that is large language model. And we are going to use language model from the Microsoft Azure platform because the Microsoft Azure is going to give us a list of models across the different tasks and verticals, and we can pick one of them and then can be infused into our AI agent. So please mute yourself if you have no question at this moment. So if you have any questions during our conversations, you can unmute your mic and you can talk to me directly. Okay, so I'm setting the context. Uh, Yes, so what you are asking, you are demonstrating the things with the coding approach or no code, low code. So I'm going to talk about both no code, low code as well as the code. So we'll see that how we can build quickly AI agent, as I said, which is empowered by large language models, and we are going to get that model from the Microsoft Cloud platform. Okay, feel free to ask questions anytime during the conversation, and you can definitely uh, unmute and talk to me directly in during the session anytime whenever you feel like. Okay, so let's get back to the discussion what I was explaining. So what are the agents? Now, people started talking about AI agent today. Previously, it was called as an AI assistant, right? So AI assistant was more kind of reactive way of doing our job with the help of artificial intelligence. It means we have to give a command, we have to write a prompt, we have to say something through a voiceover, then the AI system will work for us. It's a kind of reactive. So what is being asked to do, so AI does accordingly. But today in the agentic world, today we call them that in an agentic world, it is not just an reactive. What is being asked to an AI and AI go and deliver. Beyond that, AI can take a call autonomously while they would be completing and workflows, or while they would be, you know, completing the task that is given by the end user. So today AI become autonomous, take their own decisions by looking at an environment and situations. What need to be done next, right? Unlike just reactive to what we have asked. So today AI isn't become more proactive. The proactively AI agent would be able to deliver your business workflow. So essentially, if you want to do some kind of automations of my business workflow, and that can be delegated to the AI agent. Suppose my workflow has multiple tasks and that need to be automated. Either I can complete those tasks using by deploying one agent, or I can deploy dedicated agent for all the tasks that I want to complete autonomously. So it could be a single agentic AI system, or it could be a multi-agentic AI system that we can build. It depends like what kind of agentic AI solutions that you want to build. But by definition, you must understand how AI agent would be different from the traditional AI assistant. We work with generative AI, right? So who can create contents. Before that, we work with the predictive AI who can do the predictions and identifications and classifications. But all of them were always being worked in context of a reactive. So here we are talking about the AI agent for the first time, which is proactive, can take decisions on their own based on the situations and environment given to them to execute a particular task. So AI agent may have different component together. It will start with the large language model to do all kind of reasoning work, creating plan. And while that plan need to be executed by the AI agent, they will take help from the tools. They will help, they will take help from the tools. Just a minute. Okay, so coming back to the discussion, what I was explaining. So there are different component of AI agent. As I said, we started with the large language model. That is basically a brain of the AI agent. But in order to execute task, in order to kind of um, in order to complete a particular task, you need to make a call to the tool. Like for example, the agent has to tell what is the current weather conditions in Mumbai. So the agent has to make a call to a weather API to get that weather detail and send them back to the end user from where the question was asked. So at real time, the agent will take a call what tool to be executed in order to perform the task that is given to the agent. So it may be a one tool, it may be a many tools. And not only just making a call to a tools, there would be a different actions can be associated with the agent. So these actions need to be executed. These actions need to be taken place in order to complete a given task. Or at the same time, the agent has to go and work on their own knowledge. The LLM might have their knowledge, but if you want to give a knowledge which is the contextual, which is typically contextualize your business domain, contextualize your right, the job and workload. So you actually do the data grounding by providing the knowledge to the agent. The agent can also fetch the knowledge, make call to a tools, take an actions, and perform all the tasks collectively by the agent itself autonomously, and go and give an ultimate response back to the end user. So unlike your traditional AI system, that is the AI assistant, what I'm talking about, the AI agent brings us into bit of complexity by having multiple components, and they will be coordinated, they would be orchestrated with the help of agent orchestrations capabilities. So every framework, as an agent development framework, will have an kind of uh, the tools, or you can say the kind of uh, the API through the orchestrations can be done. Okay, so that is something what we are going to see in some time from now. But the net, you should be able to understand. So how AI agent would be different from the traditional AI assistants till yesterday, how we were working with artificial intelligence. So AI agent become more robust. To conclude this, AI agent become more autonomous. They can take their decisions, what tool to be called based on the task that is given to the AI agent. It can go and fetch a knowledge, right? It can perform an actions within the context of the AI executions, and they can be coordinated. They can be well orchestrated by the agentic framework, where by agentic framework that is being used to develop an AI agent, like AutoGen is one of them, what we are going to see today. Now, as I explained already, there are few components I already explained, but to look at the definition of that, we all of us know what LLM can do. So large language model is capable of doing multiple things, not only just generating content, right? So what was done in a traditional AI, like predictions and classification, large language model also can do all kind of traditional AI implementation plus the generative, the AI capability through which the LLM can create the new content. Actions is all about a task by interpreting the user request and using tools that are available in their environment. That's the actions that you need to take. So access to the tools, what tool the LLM has access to define an environment? It is operating in and the developer of the AI agent. Like, yes, as I have given an example in the previous deck, I said if you have to fetch a temperature real time, the weather informations, the real time weather informations from a given city. So how agent is going to be fetch, how agent is going to get that information. So agent will use a tool, and the tool in this context would be an API, weather API, through which the agent will fetch the real-time weather and give it to the LLM. LLM will craft a response and send it back to the end user from where the prompt was written and from where the task was assigned. We talk about knowledge plus memory also. The knowledge typically is going to give you the data grounding, like, so you'll produce your own data, the contextual data, as I said in the previous deck also. Plus, the conversations can be retained in a memories. There could be a short-term memory or there could be a long-term memories, the way you want to manage the memory, because if you do the similar kind of conversations, the contextual informations will help you to do the rest of the conversations that you are going to have, rather than initiating the conversations that you did some time back. Like, so it's like a human memory. So if you keep something in a memory, it become easy to do the conversations on top of that memories, right? So we do not have to go back and look for those informations which is already there in the memory. We can utilize our memory to enhance the conversations, subsequent conversations that we are going to have between the end user and AI agent. So net, what we have seen that these are four important components. Beyond that also there are a couple of more, but they are logically we can eliminate at this moment. But the four component, as I said, LLM, actions, and the tools, and the memory and the knowledge. And that's how we can design collectively the AI system, right? So this is how the user can start making the requests. From the top you can see out there the trigger the AI agent process. This is the AI agent system, right? So it can be an LLM based AI agent received and process the requests and coordinate the interpretations, planning and executions, right? So it can coordinate with the interpretations, right? Or maybe coordinate with the memory and knowledge using a contextual data, looking at the user preference and the data and so on and so forth. Now, if you look into the interpretations, here we see in the environment and the data. So interpret the environment. Under which environment? What is the physical form that is being given? What are the logistic would be given to the agent to run? In any cases, especially it would be a data. So LLM is going to analyze the current state, and then they will define an action plan, create the strategy to fulfill the request like this. So it will figure out what tool to be accessed in order to complete a particular task. So apart from the interpretations that we have memory and the knowledge, these are the core components what we are discussing at this moment. It can be a short term or it can be a long term. So short term is basically a conversational history that we can keep it during the conversation, and long term could be an external data like the customer preferences where we can store them into a vector database like that. And then getting into a tool accesses, I'm just giving a bit of inner working of AI agent systems. So tool access constrained by the environment, operational boundaries, or maybe developer settings, intentional limitations, and so on and so forth. And then we do going into some kind of action phases. So what need to be done, perform an actions and whatever you want that actions to be taken place during the executions of your AI agent. And we got something to do with the feedback loop also, although it is not being kind of explicitly talked about at this moment. But the feedback loop also an important aspect while you are running your agent, because the agent need the feedback, and agent can interpret given the feedback, and agent can do better based on the feedback, right? So this is how the agent collectively work. But at this moment, we may not go into the inner details of an agentic system, but by terminology, you should be familiar with what I'm talking about and how they are relevant in context of agentic system. So what LLM does, what kind of actions and tool does, what memories does, and what knowledge does, right? So this is all about orchestrations among all this component what we are talking about in order to complete a complex business workflow autonomously, independently. All right. So let's look at few more from the understanding point of view, from the example point of view. So where typical agent is being used. It could be a simple agent. It could be a model-based agent. It could be a goal-based agent, utility-based agent, learning agent, hierarchical agents, and the multi-agent system. This is something what I was explaining in the beginning. He said, if I have a complex business workflow and we need to complete a 20 different tasks, I can create 20 independent agents, and every agent is dedicated to perform a task within the complex business workflow. So it is interesting to see how this agent can coordinate like human does. Like if you have given a task to a team of people, a group of people within your organization, what kind of coordination is required to complete the task among the team members? Similarly, when you build a multi-agent systems, so all the agent belong to the system is going to be orchestrated, and that is defined how to do the orchestrations, how this agent is going to do the communications in order to complete a particular task, what order that agent is going to participate in the conversations in order to complete a complex task. That is defined by the agentic framework. Like example, what I was saying, the agentic framework could be your uh, AutoGen, where what AutoGen that we are going to go and use in order to build the agent. So you'll see that all of them. So beyond that, we can also talk about few things. So when to use the AI agent. It's like open-ended is something like allowing the LLM to determine needed steps to complete a task because it cannot always be hard-coded into an workflows. It's an open-ended problem. Multi-step processes. It takes that required a level of complexity in which the AI agent need to use tool or informations over multiple turn instead of a single prompt retrieval. Improvement over a time. This is basically saying that it's a task where the agent can improve over time by receiving the feedback from either its environment or the user in order to provide the better utilities. Okay, so this is what we are going to take a look. So basic of agentic solutions development, the selections of the models we can take. So if I'm a developer, suppose I have been developing AI agent using language like LangChains or using like semantic kernel. So nothing is going to change in context of AutoGen. Here we are discussing an AutoGen. which was initially uh, built by the Microsoft. Now it is given to the open source communities, which is one of the popular the framework that is used to develop AI agent. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I said. So you will get to know everything about the AutoGen, not everything about the AutoGen, but yes, whatever is needed to develop an applications using AutoGen, you are going to get that. So as a developer, first you need to bring a models. You can get the model from the different model providers, right? So you need some kind of data grounding. So it's actually what we have already discussed, the knowledge that we are talking about. All right. So, and probably the tools, maybe in a form of APIs or an external access to the AI agent development. So, what are the framework typically used? So we can use AutoGen framework, semantic kernels, Azure AI agent service. So these are the few. There are a couple of more. So I'm not bringing all of them because our primary focus would be an AutoGen framework at this moment. So agentic frameworks allow the developer to implement agentic patterns through the code. These framework offers the templates, plugins, and the tools for better AI agent collaborations. Like suppose we want to build an agent for a supply chain. We want to build an agent for manufacturing. So you are going to get a templates. At this moment, those templates are limited because it is in a making. So everything that we have to do by writing code from the scratch, but we get some no code, low code like Microsoft AI Foundries through which we can build the agent and we can pick up the template which is aligned to a particular business vertical or particular domain. So you want to build a kind of agent in a BFSI. So what would be the template that you are going to pick up that you don't have to build everything from the scratch by using AutoGen or semantic kernel or Azure AI agent services. So you get those template also. So I'll just quickly show you those template that how this template is being made available to the no code low code process. No code low code a kind of yes, I mean like no code low code kind of environment that is given to us that we can build is in. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so So, so we are going to pick the AutoGen library only, but as I have been saying, more or less those libraries, those tools would be the same. You are going to see the most of the component that I talked about would be made available to all the places. It doesn't matter what tools, what framework that you are going to use to build AI agent. So why we need to use the agent framework like AutoGen or semantic kernels or LangChains? So it will help us to do the agent collaborations and the coordinations, right? They are designed to enable the creations of intelligent agent that can interact with the user, other agent, and the environment to achieve the specific goal. And this agent can exhibit the autonomous behavior in order to make decisions and adapt to changing conditions. Right? So these are few things that is being out of the box, being incorporated through this agent framework. I'm repeatedly saying it doesn't matter what framework that you pick. So more or less everything what we are discussing, you are going to get from those framework, but only way of implementations may be different. So what goes into AutoGen and what goes into a semantic kernel and what goes into Azure AI framework? So AutoGen is the experimentation framework focus on the leading edge research on multi-agent system, and it is the best place to experiment and the prototyping sophisticated multi-agent system. So as I said before, like, if I have to build a multi-agent system, how efficiently you can do the orchestrations among them. So AutoGen is going to help, right? AutoGen is going to help to build an efficient multi-agent system by providing out of the box agentic framework. So only we just need to know them how this is going to be done at this moment. Okay. So there are a few use cases that we can see from the AutoGen point of view, semantic kernel point of view, and the Azure AI agent service point of view. Okay, and now we'll just go directly into the, yes, AutoGen is currently in open source. The community can contribute to the AutoGen at this moment. Okay, so what we are going to look at now, we are going to quickly get into a demos, right? So to just to make you understand the AutoGen, how AutoGen can be used. AutoGen can be used to build a AI agent, right? So we are going to take a look. So let me quickly take you to my dev machines. So just a minute. So if you want to explore the AutoGen more details, so you can go to this URL that I have shared with you. Yes, you can create the AutoGen. You can create an agentic workflow in AutoGen for free, or it will, no, that's completely free. But remember, eventually your agent is going to use the model. So you have to get the model. So model is not for free until you use the model from open source communities, but you are not going to get the model, the robust models, which is free. Okay, free of cost any given point in time. Okay, so what we are going to take a look here. So for example, if I Okay, so let me see this. So I'll go to first my Azure portal, because what are the things that we need? I'll just quickly draw this. Okay, so let me. So what we are going to do here, so we are going to build an AI agent. So for that, what we need, so we need the LLM. You can take this LLM from anywhere. So suppose we are going to get it from the Azure. Suppose we are going to get this LLM like GPT or O. So this is one of the LLM that we are going to use. There's the first component, right? So we are going to build an agent. So this is your agent. Right? The second component would be the API. Will give access us to this model. So here we are going to use Azure OpenAI, right? And then along with this, we can go use two things also. Excuse me. The one is the knowledge, and another would be the tool, right? So this is your API, and eventually the agent is going to use from a particular UI, user interface. That is basically your some kind of chat bot where we can write our prompt and then get the response. All right. And we can have other interactive tools along with just writing and receiving, like we can have something to provide feedback. All right. So we can have something to regenerate or kind of assign the task to the AI agent. So here we are trying to build this AI agent. That is something what we are looking at with this component, right? The component like tools, like LLMs, like knowledge, and the Azure OpenAI service that is going to be consumed from the UI, and that will orchestrate it, rest of the components according to the configurations that we will be doing by using the agentic frameworks. So here we use something like AutoGen. So AutoGen will allow us to do the orchestrations among all these components in order to build AI agent eventually. We may not go and build an UI. So UI would be just a kind of page from where we are going to interact with the rest of the component. Means you will be interacting with the AI agent. Right? So by default, the agent is going to keep the conversations in the memory, that is the short-term memories. So here we are not including the memory would be default, right? So whenever, whatever the conversations that we do between the end user and the agent, it will be keep in the conversation windows, but there would be a limit of the conversation windows for every framework that we are going to, right? So what we need first, so we need to go step by step. First, we need to deploy an LLM. And as I said, we will go and deploy LLM, and that LLM would be accessed through an Azure OpenAI service. So if I go to the Azure portal from the AI and machine learning, so AI plus machine learning that you can see out here, and we'll look for the Azure OpenAI, then we can go and create an Azure OpenAI service. So I can create a resource group, and inside the resource group, I'm going to go and create. Okay. And I'm just picking up the pricing tier. So how am I going to pay for the model when my model is going to be used from this particular OpenAI service? So what you're saying, that as your OpenAI service provide access to the OpenAI powerful language models, and that is what precisely we are trying to do. Okay, include all the latest OpenAI model. So we go and deploy this, taking default from the rest of the configuration. And we would like to create this OpenAI service, which will give access to the model. But we need to explicitly deploy the models for my agent. So now I can go to that particular resource, that is the OpenAI service. And we typically use these two information like key and endpoint to access this service. You can see this is my key and this is the endpoint. But before that, we need to deploy the model. So I can go to the Foundry portal through which we can deploy our models under this OpenAI service. In the right top corner, you will be seeing the service that I have created to contextualize my model. So under the service, I can deploy. You can see this is my service on the top right corner. And I can go to the model catalog, and I can go and deploy one of the models that can be used during the conversation. So I can look for a model. There would be approximately 11,000 models available, but under the OpenAI direct access would be given approximately 60 model. I can look for the inferences like chat completions. You have got 29 out of 60 models that comes under this particular category. through which we can do. Chat completion is all about building conversational AI. That is basically a kind of chatbot for the customer support in any domain by providing the knowledge to that particular domain that your end customer or end user can initiate the conversations with that. Okay, so we can see the models. Let me go and take a look of those models, not going into a particular models here, right? So we have selected the chat completions. Let me, okay. So I can go browse across this. I was talking about the models. So I can go one of this model like GPT-4o mini. That is also fine. I can pick up this model and I said, I want to deploy the model behind this service. So I can say that it is available in the EastUS. So we go and deploy this. So we are deploying the models under this OpenAI service. Right, so we get the model details and how we can call this model from a different respective APIs. Right, so you can see the Azure OpenAI API can access this in the Python. But here, this code need to be converted to the AutoGen, right? So now we need to build an application, means we need to build an agent using the AutoGen framework that my end user can talk to the agent. Okay, so that is something what we are going to take a look. So what we are going to see, so let's go and create a Python environment. So we are going to use the Python libraries, AutoGen library for the Python developer. That is what we are going to use to develop. So I can say mkdir my agents. So I'll go with my agent and then I'm going to see the Python installation. So Python is installed. So what I can do now, I can create a virtual environment by giving a command. Right, so the name of the environment, I'm saying my environments, the VNV virtual environment for the Python development, that we can isolate the installations across our application. Okay, so in the meantime, so what I'm going to do, okay, so once it is created, so I need to invoke that. Yes, Shubham, I'm creating the virtual environment for installing the specific libraries rather than installing in the machine level. So it would be a specific library. Here it would be mainly the AutoGen library that we are going to install. Right? So that is where the Python virtual environment will come into the picture. So here I go and invoke this environment, right? So we can go with script and activate. So I'm activating this environment that currently I am inside this environment. So what is the first package that I want to install? So I want to install pip install because everything is around the AutoGen. So AutoGen has different libraries. The first library I'm installing called AutoGen Agent Chat. So most of the agent building API is going to be available. The objects and classes would be available inside these libraries. AutoGen hyphen agent chat. Right. So the most of the functionality to build AI agent is going to come from this library. Like suppose you want to create an agent. Like suppose you want to. Okay. So suppose, yes, so this is my first library. So all kind of prerequisite in order to build agent or agent orchestrations across the multiple agents. So all of them you are going to get from this library. So along with this library, I'm going to go and install one more. This is called AutoGen extension. So it means this library is being used in AutoGen to talk to the LLM vendors. Like for example, I can use LLM from OpenAI, from the Microsoft Azure OpenAI service, or maybe Llama, or maybe Anthropic, or maybe Google, or maybe somewhere else. So AutoGen extension is going to give us the libraries through which we can connect to the LLM vendors. But at this moment, we are going to go and use only the Azure one, right? So we are going to see how this extension is going to be used to connect the Azure to get access to the models that is being deployed under the Azure OpenAI service. Okay, and then we are going to go and install from the OpenAI native implementations. There are few implementations. It would be related to the OpenAI because the OpenAI is a vendors who created those models, trained those models, and made them available on the cloud platforms like Microsoft. So there are a bit of native implementations that those model is going to be incorporated within the AutoGen development. So we'll get it from the OpenAI. This is the native one. Yes, you can easily code using the VS Code. Of course, we are going to use the VS Code only using Python notebook or maybe py a file. So both we are going to take a look in some time from me. So if you have a VS Code, you will be able to do that. Okay, so we are installing that, the few things. And then we are going to use Last one, that would be pip install, maybe tick. So this is to do with the tokenization strategies that can be incorporated for the LLM, like token countings and other things can be done using the tick token libraries. That is the out of the box that we can use for any development that we are going to do. And our credentials would be somewhere in .env files, means all the configurations detail would be in the dot. So if I want to read those configurations, I will use a package called, so these are the package through which we can read environment variables once it is being configured in .env file. All right, so what we are going to do now, so we are going to go to the Visual Studio Code here. So I can say code dot in this virtual environment. It will spin up the Visual Studio Code by putting this directory as a current directory for me. And the first thing first, we are going to go and create a .env file, right? So we are going to create a kind of .env file, env files to keep all the environment variable, right? So what are the environment variables that I will be looking for as your OpenAI endpoint? I will get it from my current deployment that just now we did, right? And we'll see that what model that we are. So we are using the mini one. So we'll take a look. So if I go back and see this model, so this is the GPT-4o mini. This is the model name that I have to incorporate here. Right? So model name and deployment name would be the same. I could have changed my deployment name at the time of deploying, but we did not. So we keep it the default. So both name would be the same. Now I'll get the keys and the endpoints. So from where do I get it? From my Azure portal. We have keys and the endpoint. So I can copy the key. I can paste it here. And then I can copy the endpoint and I can paste it here in the endpoint stuff. Right? So my all the credentials that is required by the AutoGen library to talk to the models that we have deployed behind the OpenAI service is being made available in .env file. This is the configuration settings that we did for our applications that we are going to build, through which where we are going to go and create our AI agent. Right? So how I'm going to go and build it. So I make it simple for you. So I'll go to my folder, my agent. I will paste my first notebook, Jupyter notebook. So here we go. And then we can just open that Jupyter notebook where I'm going to use this virtual environment in order to run the AutoGen code. So we'll explain the code, how the AutoGen library is applied to create AI agent. So it's still loading. It might take a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions in between what we have been discussing, so please feel free to ask. Oh, you can use the PY file also, because for it become easy to explain using Python notebook, because we can go step by step. I will give you the PY file also, right? Because here we are not going to go, and it's not a very lengthy kind of sessions, 2 days or one day. It is just a 1.5 hour sessions or 2 hour sessions. So there you have to get maximum. So you can go back and understand the concept and you can implement subsequently. So we can use .py files, we can use Python notebook also at the same time. But as I said, Python notebook would be more kind of easy to kind of, so I have selected to, I mean, to explain the steps that we are writing out there. Okay. So let me see what are the other thing that I can bring in. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm just, so let me see whether it is, yeah, it is loaded at this moment. Now, the first thing first, so I have picked up my, as you can see, the library is there. This is something important that we are talking about. All the libraries that I have installed by creating a virtual environment. So I pick up that virtual environment to run this code, right? So this code is going to use the AutoGen library, right? So what are the AutoGen libraries that you are looking at? So I was talking about something to do with an agents chat that I have already installed within the virtual environment. And we are taking this type assistant agent. So in AutoGen library, assistant agent is the class through which we can create AI agent, right? Now, the communications between the AI agent and the end user is going to be done in a form of messages. It would be an exchange of messages. So there would be a particular format of the message, and that is going to come from the user message. Okay. And that is going to be from the code. So in fact, I need to install one more. That would be the core that I did not install that. So let me go and install this also. So here I can go and install pip install. Core that need to be installed also. So the core behavior of this AutoGen would be remain inside that one. So we are just picking up those. Now, as I said, apart from all this, so we are using Azure OpenAI chat completions client, and that is coming from the AutoGen extension. That's what I was talking about. Tomorrow, I can use a model from Meta. I can use a model from Anthropics. I can use a model from Google, right? So we have to use the respective class object which is being made available in the AutoGen framework by giving extensions to the AutoGen. The AutoGen library is being extended to bring models from all the vendors that I'm talking about. At this moment, the vendor is Microsoft because we are talking to the Microsoft OpenAI service, not OpenAI, not Meta, or not Anthropic. So what we do, this is the block of code that can run independently by clicking on this. If all the prerequisite is being installed, so we are going to see the successful of running this. There are some prerequisite need to be installed. So maybe that will install for the Jupyter kernel. So we just need to install that prerequisite. So that is happening in the background. Yes, it is put into. So in this case, it is basically if you explore the virtual environment, all the package would be somewhere here. If you expand this my environment, so you can see all the packages there. So just to let me, so if I expand this, you can see there is a library. These are the installations. Right, so these are the installations that has happened. All the library is being dumped inside this. Okay, and in fact you can also check this from the terminal. So by using pip list, so it is going to give me the list of packages that we have installed just to validate that all the packages is available or not. Anyway, you are going to get exceptions if they are not being installed. Okay, during the executions of our code while I'm using those packages. Right. So now we back in there. We can see that this is still going on. I can minimize this. Right, so let me going back to this one. So just hang on, it may, okay. If you had to use a vector database, then you had to explicitly also install that as well, right? Yes, like, yes, of course, all the dependencies, like you may use the files. Okay, so you may use the Chrome DB. So respective library need to be installed. Suppose you want to use AI as your AI cognitive search, where you can do the vectorizations of your data. So you can definitely do it by, yes, you need to explicitly install them. Okay, so it's taking a bit of time. So in the meantime, I'll try and open one more. Uh, Let me see. Okay, so let's get into that. So going to AutoGen like this. All right, so this is where we are. I guess we are just about to load. All fine. Now, let me get you the another one through what we can go and this, for example. Okay, so that is, so once it is going to be come after that, it's basically the loading here, but I can still go and use another one. So just give me a minute. So using a PI file. So for example, how do I do that? Yes. So In the meantime, so we can go and use a py file until this particular file is loaded. So I'm just getting a py file. Now, if I open that py file, so where also I'm using trying to create, so you can see that quickly because the notebook is taking time. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So here also we are going to go and use all of them. You can see assistant, user proxies, all kind of, there are maybe a couple of more we are using. So it is not a waste of time. Remember that this is something like, it may not be a 2-3 minutes. If you are giving to load is, it does not call as a waste of time. Okay. All right. So we are back into a py file. So here we go and install one more package, that is the Streamlit package. If you can see, there's a Streamlit. So Streamlit is an UI package. Through Streamlit, by writing a minimum code, you can basically create UI. So question is how. I will explain that. But before that, I will go and install that. Pip install Streamlit. Okay. So we are going to go and install the Streamlit as a UI framework for Azure development. It's very quick to build a UI. The people are using Streamlit rather than going into Flash or maybe Vercel or some other UI framework, which is very popular in context of agentic AI development. So I'm bringing the Streamlit as an UI package that quickly we can build UI. Okay, so using this, so this is the bit of installations that we are having at this moment for the Streamlit and their respective dependencies. So once it is done, we are ready to go and explore the py files through which we are trying to build an AI agent using the same library what we have been discussing. Okay, this is just to make you understand the coding syntactical, what you call the syntax implementation of. So let me, in the meantime, I can go back here. Okay. Yes, it is also build a rack-based application. Okay. So here we have the same AutoGen libraries that we incorporate. We get the models, extensions for OpenAI completions, and we are loading are all these credentials in order to create my client object. So here we said set up the Azure OpenAI model client by creating an object, by using this particular things, and by calling everyone from the .env files, because in .envs we have the respective one and we should be able to go and use of those, right? And then we are going to create an agent, right? So we are trying to create an AI agent. So from where did I get this class? From the AutoGen library that we have incorporated on the top. You can see that this is coming from the agent chat libraries, right? Now, while I'm creating an assistant, every assistant will have a name. I can give any name. Suppose what is the customer support agent, something like that. So here is the explainer agent. So it means this agent is going to explain of a particular a topic or maybe a particular subject or particular concept, you can go and write anything, any agent that you want to build. All right. So here we go and say this. Yes, the assistant agent is a class that is coming from the AutoGen library in order to create an agent with a name and a model connection, because the core component of an any agent is the model. Okay. So we are getting access to the model and a system message. So we have to give an instruction to the agent, what this agent is going to do, means how this agent is going to perform and so on and so forth. So here is, you are an agent tutor that explain the technical concept in a simple language. And you can also use another agent class called user proxy to represent a human. So here we said the student is going to ask questions to the AI agent. The student is being represented by another agent. We call them as a user proxy agent. Okay, so you're seeing, because user proxy agent also coming from the AutoGen library from the top. Right, so this is user proxy, but user proxy has a different definitions altogether. So user proxy can be used between the actual human and the agent. So all the conversations between the actual user and the agent can be done with the help of user proxy. So it's a proxy to your, right? Then we started using the Streamlit. Yes, name is important, but rather than names, your instruction is important, because what you are asking the LLM to do, because it is called not only just instruction, it is context setting also. Based on the system message, the AI agent will act accordingly. Okay, so name sometime may be irrelevant. So you can give a name called XYZ, because this is just a identifier of the agent. But the instructions, the system message of the agent gives the context to the models what to do. Okay, so we can go and write a very big system message also any given point in time. So here we are using the Streamlit. As we install the Streamlit successfully, it's still just installing. It's not happening at this moment. I don't know why. So I'll go and get it done one more time. But here you see, so we are using a Streamlit. Is a very simple way of, you do not need HTML kind of pages or something like that to just to build something and browse inside the browser. The title, all kind of stuff that you can see. So people are going to write. She said you are taking an input by writing a particular topic to be explained. The rest is also all about the UI, wherever we see STST, that is the Streamlit. But what we are going to do here in this case, from where we are going, so we are building a message. The message is also coming from the AutoGen, the text message, with a two part, the source and the kind of, this is what I explained, the following concept, the topic, and from where it is coming from the user. Then eventually we are running this agent. This is the agent who will bring response to you on message is the method from the AutoGen. So it will get you the response through an agent, and it can be print in the UI by using the Streamlit. Right. So this is what you can see at this moment quickly. Right. So this is all done. We are ready to go and run this. So I can give a command called Streamlit run. So my web application. So it is going to connect to my Azure OpenAI service. Yeah, Streamlit can be used in production also. It's not like only for testing. So if you want a quick one, of course, you may not get a lot of features. For that, you have to go and because you do not get a out of the box inbuilt integrations with the AI services, unlike Vercel or other AI development based UI. Maybe you have to more going into the React and the Angular kind of things to get it more robust. So it is depends, like, so if you want some kind of agentic functionalities, taking feedbacks and all kind of stuff, so definitely you can go and so we are using an AutoGen libraries to create an AI agent by making call to an GPT-4o mini models through the Azure OpenAI service using AI agent by giving instruction. Okay, so I can go and write the topic, like suppose agentic system. So I want to know about an agentic system. So I'll go and explain the concept. So it will connect to my LLM through an. So here we are saying. So agentic system were referred to a way of thinking about the people as in like individual group interact with choice and so on and so forth. So if I say the AI agents, here we say explain. So system that autonomies and ability to act independently, right? AI work together, including the algorithms, rule inclusion. So you can see this, how this is agent is bringing me the data. Right now, if you see this, it is direct communications that we are making with the AI agent with the model. But this is not what we supposed to explore. So we have to incorporate the other component that we discussed along with my agentic development. So what are the other components? We talk about the tools. We talk about the knowledge, right? We talk about the action. So how am I going to incorporate tools, knowledge and actions And that is where the agentic solutions will come into the picture. Or maybe at this moment, we have created an AI agent. We are not directly making a call to the models, unlike the traditional AI system by using an OpenAI service, right? But we have just started. We just started by building an agent. So we are trying to figure out the agentic framework at this moment. Okay. Okay. So, Girish, what is the difference between the agentic AI or AI agent? AI agent, I have already explained. The agentic, when multiple agent coordinate or do the orchestrations in order to deliver a complex task. And that's how the agentic will come into the picture. That's how we call it the agentic solutions. So one simple agent does not define the agentic solution. So agentic is a higher or a bigger context. When you talk about agentic, okay, I have a complex workflows and I'm going to deploy more agent and we will do the orchestrations among them to deliver that complex workflows. And that's how the agentic will come into the picture. I mean, like, right? So that is basically, suppose you can ask here itself, if I say AI agent versus agentic solutions, right? Yes. Sorry. Okay, so we can go and take a look. Right, so it is just what we have been explaining. It's a borders of a solutions giving individual entity ability to their specific goals. Like there may be a lot of tasks that you want to perform by orchestrating with, right? So here is a, for instance, an app that helps you to manage and finance and analyze the spending a bit, provide the solutions out there. So it's become an agentic. It means you want a business workflow to be automated by deploying the AI agents, not just a one simple agent who can take your prompt and get you the response. Now coming back in the context of agentic rather than, so I can just go and talk about this one. So let me go back and get my data out there. So where I will get my data. So I'll get the data from here itself. Now, if we see this application out here, let me select the kernel here. Now, if you see this application, everything is fine. But when you go to the agent building, And this is how it is different from the traditional one. So when I'm going to go and work with this agent, I'll just tell you that where is difference is coming. You can see we have extended to a tool. This is only possible to configure in context of agent. Here we are going to go and work with the tools. You can see right there. Okay. So you should not be confused, Ganesh. It is clear like waters. Again, for your sake, I'm explaining this. Nothing to be confused here. If you do a traditional applications, you cannot infuse a tool. You can only infuse a tools in an agentic development through the AutoGen or a semantic kernel or maybe a LangChain. Hope you got it now. You may have developed applications before who directly go and talk to the models, get you the response. It is called reactive way of using AI system. So with the help of tools, we have given the autonomy to the AI agent. The AI agent can select a tools on the flies and make a call to the tools and get you the response autonomously. Well, nothing can be explained beyond this. When you talk about the typical AI applications and the agentic AI applications building with an AutoGen. So AutoGen allow us to infuse the tools capability, knowledge-based capabilities, right? The actions capabilities. So it's not, I mean, like you must understand the skeletons where we are getting in. So this application, this is a kind of applications. So if I want to run it by selecting my, so I start with this one. Rest of the things would be the same. So we are loading all this. So we get the green tick, successful. We are reading all my configurations detail from the .env file. Okay. And then we have created some kind of functionalities. Now, remember that the developer has to define what kind of functions the agent may call. Calling of the function would be dynamic. Calling of the functions would be autonomous. But the developer has to go and write the function, right? So based on the kind of agent, based on the workflows that you want to automate. So it means you cannot ask the AI agent to write code for you. That is also possible. That is also possible. What is called as a code interpreters. You can also ask the agent to write a code, execute the code and get result and give it to the LLMs, and LLM takes it and respond to the end user through the proxy agent or maybe directly to the end user. Okay. So this is the functions. Okay. So we need this Jupyter notebook for learning and hand on the practice. Okay. You should practice. Okay. You should practice always. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot keep things in memory for some time. Like after some time, it would be disappeared. So until you do the practice, until you explore, until you do the tweaking, see, in 2 hours time and 1 hour times, you won't be able to learn everything about the agentic solutions. But at least you will be able to head start with the framework like AutoGen and their capabilities and the inner understanding of building an AI agent. That is only possible. That is the only things that we are trying to do through this session. So here we go with some functionalities. He said, I have a database and I want the agent to go and find data with some conditional finding. Maybe I have a database of books. So suppose I can go to this data folder. So you have a book.json. So it could be a, you know, any kind of database. So there you need a connection string only. So concept would be the same, but here is a JSON file, what we are bringing in. So it's a list of book with an authors and the categories. So I'm trying to figure out here. It says, okay, anyone can go and find a book by a category or by a author. And this is the functions that we are writing, two functions. You can see that this is the two functions that we are writing. So based on the prompt, the one of the function is going to be invoked by the tool, invoked by the agent autonomously. Right? So now you can go and take a look. You are creating the client object. And subsequently, there are a couple of parameters because that is something to do to control the AI models. Okay, Subham, what you are saying, a functions, you wrote the functions that we use simply a brain LLM, which extract information instead of. No, these functions can be any function. Suppose last time I was talking about creating a functions to get a real time get a real-time weather informations by taking this. So your functions, the APIs, it could be anything. It could be any form of robust API that you can write. Okay. So there are a whole lot of examples, so, but we do not have time to go through all of them. Conceptually, you need to understand. So these are piece of code can do wonders for you to do a really robust things for you. So how many lines of code that you are writing, what functionality that you are incorporating, it's up to you. But you must understand the concept here rather than looking at the complexity of this function. I said you can write anything. You can go and make a call to the external wall by using an API. That could be one of the functions that you can incorporate any given point in time. Okay. So yes, so now coming back to, so we got two functions, we got 100 functions, that's up to you. So how you want your model to, so agent to incorporate them. So when I'm writing an agent, when I'm building an agent, the new things has pop in called tools. Now here is a tool of set of tools that I'm incorporating here. So tool is nothing but a functions or API call to anything that we are using. And I'm giving an instruction to an agent. He said, use the tools to answer, but I did not say what tool to be used. The agent will autonomously take a call which tool be used based on the prompt. Use the tool to answer the questions about the books. Okay. About the books, not in the JSON format. You can see also about, you can just read it something like this about the books. If the user questions is not related to a books, respond that you are a book search assistant, can only answer questions related to the books. So these are instructions given to the agent. But the agent is not being told which tool to be used, right? So here tool is the functions, what we are referring to. Tools is the API, what we are referring to at this moment. So agent is not being told explicitly. You got it? So now we can go and make a call, right? So how do I make a call? This is my agent and this is the method. The text message is a structured one that is coming from an AutoGen. Agent is coming from the AutoGen. On message is coming from an AutoGen. You are supposed to send a queries, right? And you are going to get the response. So what is your queries? You're saying list the book written by, right? Displayed in a general format, not in JSON. So we can give an instruction also, but at this moment, I just giving that instruction, but I did not tell to the agent which tool can bring me the data. So it could anticipate the actual tools to be called at autonomously during the execution. So I can just go and clean this up and I want to run this. So before that, I have to go and run all of them because we have gone and run till here. So we go and run the third one, the step by step. It's very good to understand and good to debug and kind of. So this is also done. And here we go in the final steps that we are going to make a call to an agent eventually. And we'll see the result if everything goes well. So agent will bring me the detail of the books, which is written by this particular author, right from the database. So it could have been the database connections, but here we are going and using something like I have the data folder. Inside the data folder, we have a book.json file. We are trying to bring it, but it can be any complex tools that you are writing. You have to anticipate what is going on. And then you go and change your queries, list the book in the fictions, forget about category. So you don't give a category here, right? So you just write the books in fictions. It's a natural language that you are going to write. So you are going to get the books under that particular categories. Here we get. So this is the autonomy of it. So you can go and get to see a more complex tooling system, but where we have started today to make you understand, right? Remember this, the tool can be really robust and this tool can make wonders for the agent that you are going to build going forward, right? Okay, so this is where we have couple of more, but I'll just try to figure out few things for you, the tooling use. Just let me see that, what I can bring you that. This is more on the same things. It is more on the AutoGen related implementations that we get. So what are the functionality of the AutoGen libraries or how your Yes, I mean, like the AutoGen library is capable of delivering, or AutoGen library is how capable the AutoGen library in order to create agent, make it more complex by adding tools. In fact, if I can show you a few more examples from the design, from the multi-agent point of view. So I can copy this and I'll show you how the multi-agent orchestration is going to happen. We have just about to finish, but I'll just quickly how the multi-agent works. We talk about the multi-agent also. So if I can open that, select my kernel. So we can create more than one agent also, right? So how to create multiple agents? So there is one agent out here with the system message and instructions. With the tools, there would be another agent also. And how we can orchestrate these two agents together by putting them, right? So here is a round robin group chat that is coming from the AutoGen in order to, okay, so this is how it is. So this is, you need to understand the AutoGen in detail. So how you can incorporate more than one agent by specifying their specific job and task that agent will carry out by calling their respective tools when the agent is going to do a job independently. And that is the robustness of the agent that we need to discuss today, right? So what we have learned so far, coming back here, so we have basically trying to figure out how AI agent is different from the traditional AI assistant, right? So that is what we have been talking about in our demos, and making it more robust by using one of the framework that can be used to build that kind of robustness. Okay. So with that, so we have come to an end of this today's sessions. I would like to thank everyone for joining these sessions, and feel free to ask questions, and do not forget to fill the feedback for today's sessions. Hope everybody has enjoyed the sessions. It's a very short period of time, but yes, try to give you insight about the technology. Then you can keep yourself updated what is happening in the field of artificial intelligence. The agentic is one of them. So you need to go after this very quickly, because in some time from now, everything would be driven by AI agent. So with that note, once again, thank you everyone for joining today's session. Looking forward to see you in upcoming sessions organized by Synergetics for the communities. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. I hope everyone learned learned what everyone do. Please do fill the feedback form. Once you are done, you can end this session. Everyone is requested to please do fill the feedback form.